The L-21 Wolf from Kruger Intergalactic has been announced, and I will start this video by saying no, I don't have a problem with the ship. Just the little dangly on the back. We're still, I think, within the first minute of the video, so I can't say what I truly believe that looks like, but I'm sure you guys can all take a guess from my reaction video. But the ship itself is another combat ship. It's made to look a very specific kind of way. If you can't tell from this specific picture what they want it to look like, it's the older fighters of yore. I think they mentioned the Mustang as being one of those, Spitfire being another. Those kind of World War II style... Those World War II style ships, fighter jets, not jets, but like fighter props that made those noises. All that stuff. Don't hang the angle of the dangle. I love the angle of the ship. The ship is freaking beautiful. And I think everything except for its little fin make it look gorgeous. Whole bunch of marketing text here. We're not going to really spend too much time on that. Just wanted to show you what this first page looks like. These pictures are honestly a little bit low resolution compared to what they normally put out. And it does sound like this ship is actually launched with less functionality than it should have at this point. The components aren't actually physicalized, which is crazy to me. I don't know how they're going to release a ship without physicalized components or the ability to actually take them out or put them in, but I think they need to get that fixed. The update itself, 4.3, being pushed on a Saturday really shows just how intense their schedule is this year. Because in a normal year, when they're focusing on 4 major patches throughout the year, 3 days of waiting to push the patch forward is really not that big a deal. Waiting from Saturday and then pushing it out on a Monday or Tuesday doesn't seem like it would be that big a deal. But with this update cadence that they've chosen, where they're releasing something every month, and they're probably already doing their go no-go for 4.3.1 to go to the PTU. So they want this live so that they can turn their attention to that. And it's just... Squadron 42 is releasing probably at the end of next year, so does that mean that we're going to have to see a whole nother year of this kind of cadence just to keep up the vibes and the funding to reach Squadron 42? Or is this a specialty for 2025 and they're going to take a load off after this and try to return to a little bit more of a normal update structure? Because this is pushing them. It's pushing them, it's pushing the community, it's pushing the buttons. Either way, let's continue. So this ship came out. It is $90, which is about the price of a Gladius, I want to say. An insane amount, I would imagine, for anybody who is watching this and isn't used to Star Citizen or its ship page or the way that they do their funding. You don't have to spend money on this ship to get it. It'll probably not be in the game for you to get for a few months yet. But, like, do not see this as something that needs to be purchased. If you're new to this game, if you've just started over the last couple of months, this will be in game at some point, and you will be able to get the exact same version as everybody else is getting when they hit this add to cart button. So don't freak out. Resist the FOMO. Take some time. The ship itself is not even up to the standards of ships what they should be in the game right now, so there's not much point to jump in on it. You can get like a limited edition paint, which I think is really what they should do for this overall, is like going forward with ship sales even after they reach 1.0. I think they shouldn't sell any ships over a certain amount. I think the ships that they do sell should get released to everyone at the same time. You just get a skin, like a special paint or something on it when you buy it with cash. Okay, yay. You're helping back the game, you know? But ultimately, CIG is only making money from this. They don't have a game that they've sold. Right? They're not making, like, everybody talks about how Grand Theft Auto 6 is taken forever because they're still milking Grand Theft Auto 5, not to mention Red Dead Redemption and all the other stuff that 2K can probably take money from for that development. But there is no previous game for them to be making money off of. There are no venture capitalist investors or big publishers that are funding them from other projects they've done. There's a little bit, tiny bit of private investment there, but mostly the money that they're getting to develop this game comes from these ship sales, and hopefully at some point, someday, in the future, sometime, Squadron 42 sales. That being said, again, don't feel like you need to spend money just to see the game become a thing. It's fine. Other people will take care of it. Just like, love the ship if you like the way it looks. Find somebody else's to steal when it's in game. And then go earn it in 6 months, whenever it gets in there. They dropped an FAQ for this as well, to talk about the more in-depth answers that people might have questions for. I will go through some of these. We'll find like the interesting ones, but if you want to go through this whole thing, I'll drop a link down for you. Could you introduce the Kruger brand for those unfamiliar with it? For the lore enthusiasts, are there any new developments and changes to Kruger's lore with this ship releasing? They said a lot of stuff. I don't really feel like reading all that. Can you read this? Okay. Renowned for their manufacturing precision and expertise, Kruger Intergalactic is the UAE's premier custom parts manufacturer with long-standing contracts with RSI Bearing and other industry titans. As their success grew, Kruger methodically expanded operations into weapons manufacturing before partnering with RSI on the P-Series Snub fighters for the Constellation. The L-21 Wolf is the first ship independently developed and manufactured by the company and beautifully blends their unique design into blends their unique design aesthetic with centuries of manufacturing expertise. To celebrate this exciting new era, Kruger updated their logo to use sleek silver and white color scheme to embody the subtle elegance they strive for in their products. It does have a quantum drive. Honestly, if a ship doesn't specifically get named as a snub, it's gonna have a quantum drive. What unique design elements or features do the team want to highlight most of this ship? They want to push the elegance of what combat ships in the verse are. They want to show there is room for smooth and sleek lines on a deadly combat-focused ship. They want to hark back to the 50s era of concept vehicles and designs that we have lost over time. It's like, can we pull up the Naboo fighter? I mean, I could see like the similar design ideas here. I'm not going to say it's the same ship. Obviously not. Like, I can see, you know, I can see how that looks similar to this. Just backwards. It's just like flying a Naboo fighter backwards. Everybody says it's more akin to the Mandalorian fighter ship from the most recent season. They're just gonna keep pulling up this one. This one, what is this? The N1 Starfighter, which looks a lot like the Naboo Starfighter too. So makes sense. Yeah, it's got very similar vibes to the Naboo Starfighter. I could see it. You could at least see the similarities. That's the same ship. Turn it around. You just have to flip it 180 degrees and put the cockpit in backwards. It's the same model. They just ripped it out of the Star Wars and put it into the Star Citizen. And they said, well, it's got Star on the front of it. Must be fair use. They also said the last thing they want to do is mix clean, flowing lines with an aggressive cockpit location, intimidating weapons, and a landing stance that echoes historic single-seater warplanes. That's where that one comes in. Does Kruger bring a unique ship UI style to the Wolf? It adapts the normal generic UI, but it does not make a Kruger bespoke style, which I was wondering about. Given the distinct styling with the cockpit positioned in the midsection, how does the placement impact visibility? This stupid fin. It doesn't, for anybody who's watching this and being like, oh my god, Space Tomato, why are you so anal? It doesn't actually bother me that much, guys. It's the fin. It doesn't look great, but whatever. As the L-21 Wolf is a pure combat ship, player visibility was one of the key design goals when we set out with the early concepting. Originally, we had the cockpit sit further back on the body, however, we discovered this did impact player visibility in a negative way. That tracks. The concept that they showed us before, I'm pretty sure the cockpit was a decent amount
kind of cool. I was pretty happy
further
with
back.
It is a bit.
So here's what it was based on. See if we can get a good shot of it. So this is the ship that it was based on. And it does look like, yeah, the cockpit was definitely closer to the very back. It was like right here, maybe? A little bit further back. There wasn't much. I think they should have integrated the fin into the back of this little circular spot and then put the thruster on the bottom of the ship instead of the fin. Were there any other models that had a fin that was facing down? No, I don't think so. This one had a fin going upwards. This one also had a fin going upwards. So it's kind of like a more unique decision to make regarding the ship. Actually, yeah, see, they had models with the thruster on the bottom. I don't know why they didn't go with that and then put the fin on the top. Like, it was already a detail in the concepts they were working with. They just, I guess, decided with this one, change it up. The current release of the Wolf does not include accessible physicalized components. Are there plans to add them in the future update? Imagine if they were just like, no. They're not. Sucks to be you if you bought this, buddy. They said, whilst the current release of the Wolf does not have accessible components, they are physicalized in the correct positions and will be accessible and physically swappable in a future patch. So I've got to wonder, if they are physicalized there, why can't we access them? That's so weird. But I'm guessing this is going to be something that we see in 4.3.1 or 4.4. I would not expect them to leave it unworkable for very long. It's already, I think, not great that they're introducing a ship without it. They should get that updated quickly. What kind of playstyle is the Wolf designed for? What roles or situations does it truly excel in? I hear it's a great repair ship and salvaging. The L-21 Wolf is a dedicated light fighter built for close quarters engagements against other small craft. So please, for the love of God, don't complain when you go up against the Idris and don't win. Okay? You can try it. Honestly, I think it would make for a very entertaining video, especially if you could pull it off, but like, it's not exactly made for that. It leverages good maneuverability, high speed, and sharp acceleration. These qualities make it a dangerous threat. Danger! Not only in ships of its own class, but also in those in adjacent roles, including medium and heavy fighters. Okay. Now we're getting a little auspicious there, CIG. It's gonna be a dangerous threat to heavy fighters, they said. I mean, what are the Gatling guns? Size 4s? If you can avoid getting hit, then this could probably put on a lot of component damage. Size 4 Gatlings means a lot of ballistics going in, but you gotta be careful flying this. Where does the Wolf sit in the light fighter lineup compared to other options like the Anvil Arrow or Aegis Gladius? The L-21 Wolf is a light fighter that pushes the limits of maneuverability and acceleration, placing it among top contenders like the Arrow in terms of handling and size. However, compared to other light fighters in its class, such as the Gladius, the Wolf has a less resilient hull and a higher emissions profile. Higher emissions is interesting. That is a way to balance a ship. As a result, pilots will need to carefully manage the double size 1 shield's HP. Okay. A threat means they could probably take off some thrusters or weapons, maybe a component or two. Still, I mean, I still think that's putting people in a interesting mindset if they don't know how to fly the ship well. How does it perform against medium and heavy fighters? As I said before, compared to other classes, the L-21 Wolf offers significantly superior handling and a respectable amount of firepower to take on larger components, provided it doesn't stay exposed to enemy fire. Yeah, that would be the big one. Does it have any storage space or FPS racks? Yes, the pilot has an external storage on the starboard side, including located behind the wing, and a small weapon rack on the port side towards the rear of the ship. Will the fin affect the ship's aerodynamics? The fin in this initial release is tied to the landing gear state only. We are investigating player control options, Alt+K, anybody? To allow it to be manually toggled in the future. It currently does not dynamically impact aerodynamic handling, though when the control surface's feature hits the PU, you can expect it to have an impact in atmosphere yaw ability. Is there a way to manually retract or Okay. Oh, deploy the Wolf's weapons while in SCM. Yes, you are able to manually toggle weapons via the relevant hotkey. That is the P button, which triggers the retract and deploy animation. A lot of ships already use that. Kruger previously created a racing variant of the Merlin, the Archimedes. Are there any plans to develop a similar race-focused variant of the Wolf? Currently, there are no plans to develop a racing variant. However, we would love one, as we feel it fits the brand identity. But we will see what happens in the future. Yeah, we'll see one. We'll get a racing variant at some point. What I would much prefer would be to, oh my god, okay, this is gonna be crazy. Bear with me. It's gonna be insane. Imagine if they took the ship and moved the cockpit slightly off axis, put an extra seat next to it, got rid of the weapons, and called this an 85X competitor. Come on, that'd be cool, right? That would be sick. 85X needs a little love. It needs a competitor. Competition is good for the customers. It's good for everybody. Last question for you guys before we wrap this up. Is this thing overpowered? Does it have a problem? Do you feel like they have dropped this ship in to be some extreme example of light fighters that inevitably will be nerfed within a month? Or does it feel like the ship has come in and been fairly balanced compared to its competitors? There's a little deep look into the Wolf. We will get into this ship and actually fly with it on Wednesday and see what it can do. We can take out a Polaris or an Idris or the entirety of Grimhex with it.